On June 30th, 2020, Epic Games released an end-of-month blog post on the state of Fortnite's PvE mode, Save the World. This state of development post was a massive blow to his community, which effectively announced that Epic had abandoned focused development on this mode, slowing down the frequency of new updates and content and completely cancelling the rest of the storyline while keeping the game as a premium title instead of it going free to play as promised back in 2018. For those who were following this game over the past few years, this news was the absolute worst case scenario.
Everybody's saying GG, it's over, and it most likely is.
I wanted to give this a quick scan before I started reading, but it read more like an obituary than anything else.
But looking back during my few years of playing Save the World, with the many delays of features, lacking or straight up recycles of content and updates, general balance issues in gameplay,
Whoa, what the fuck?
and bugs that are still here years later, it was an unfortunate but expected outcome for this game. So, where did Epic Games go so wrong with Fortnite's original game mode? Well, to find out, we need to go back to the beginning. Fortnite's first exposure was at the 2011 Spike Video Game Awards, where Epic's former design director, Cliff Bleszinski, showed off a trailer of their newest project only 3 weeks after the idea even popped into their minds. The VGA was a few months before the completion of Gears of War 3, and as Cliffy B mentions, Epic had become interested in spreading their wings and trying something new and fun. So what would become Fortnite? A third-person tower defense looting, shooting, zombie blasting sandbox survival game was put into development. Early on, the devs were looking to make a grittier, more realistic survival game, where the enemies looked like they were straight out of Resident Evil, ready to tear your flesh apart. But as development went on and there was a clearer vision for the tone of the game, the devs shifted to a more cartoony version of the husks, which are still pretty damn cool, but damn, these designs were sick. But hey, at least they kept the weird face hoodie on these guys, and this more kid-friendly approach definitely helped them later down the line. As time went on, Epic decided to include more MMORPG elements like items, heroes, and weapon systems to deepen Fortnite's depth further. 2012 brought a few speed bumps in Fortnite's development. While development started on Unreal Engine 3, Epic decided to transition development to Unreal Engine 4 and use Fortnite as a testing ground for its new features. An investment of 40% from Tencent didn't do them any favors either. Who would have thought? Epic needed a way to monetize their game even after it goes free to play, and well, Tencent is really good at that.
I like money!
DLC models like cosmetics and seasonal subscriptions were becoming increasingly popular in free-to-play games like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Dota 2, and eventually Fortnite itself. Isn't that crazy? Because of this new partnership, many high-profile devs ended up leaving, including Cliffy B himself. One of these devs, Rod Ferguson, said that if he stayed with Epic, he probably would have shut down Fortnite at this point. It was never disclosed exactly what the terms were of the partnership, but it must have been pretty rocky if a lead dev is saying stuff like that. Despite that setback, Epic continued establishing some core mechanics of Fortnite, like their building mechanics, new husk types, and an early rendition of a 4-class system offering unique heroes in each class with many different playstyles. By November 2013, Epic announced that Fortnite would not be released that year, and admitted that announcing the game as early as they did was not the move, no sir. But they assured players that the long development time was for, very good reasons. Too good to be specified, I guess. This is perfectly fine though. It's not unusual for a game to be in development for over 5 years and turn out completely fine when they're finally released. What the hell are you doing here?
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier.
In 2014, Fortnite's Unreal Engine 4 development was functional to where a few closed alpha tests could take place later that year and in spring 2015. Paragon was also announced in 2015 and was developed alongside Fortnite. It even became Epic's main focus and was released before Fortnite in August 2016. Kinda funny how the turntables sometimes. Now we finally arrive on July 25th, 2017, where Fortnite would be released in early access for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Even then, Epic knew the game wasn't completely ready for release.
Hey, you.
finally awake.
but decided that putting Fortnite into a paid early access would be a good way to get feedback and extra funds for development. Of course, they threw some of these funds at streamers and YouTubers to get some extra attention. And as much as I hate this way of getting public exposure for a new game,
Stab them in the ass!
I gotta admit that is how I first became interested in Fortnite. It worked, damn it.
Oh shit, I walked!
A friend who bought the game gave me a key for it cause I'm broke, and when I got into it I was hooked. It's everything I mentioned before, and now that I look back at Fortnite, it took aspects from other games I enjoy. It's a PvE looter shooter kinda like Borderlands. The worlds are fully destructible sandboxes where you can gather materials and quickly build, kinda like Minecraft. It has tower defense elements similar to Orcs Must Die, and there's a good variety of special zombies that you'll need to approach differently or they will mess you up, kinda like Left 4 Dead. As I mentioned earlier, there are 4 unique classes to choose from. Soldiers are your main DPS with average HP and a lack of mobility, but make up for it with pure firepower. Ninjas, not that one, are the in and out masters who benefit from using melee weapons, abilities, and mobility to quickly take out groups or key targets. Outlanders are the recon experts who excel at zipping around and getting resources and prefer using abilities to deal with problems instead of weapons, since they are built like toothpicks. And last but definitely not least, we got the constructors. They excel at defense and buffing buildings and traps with their base. There are also absolute units that can frontline if they feel like it. The main gameplay loop of Save the World is break shit, get materials, loot toilets to get bacon for traps, create a defense, kill husks, and then repeat. Of course, there were different types of missions to keep gameplay from being too repetitive, which did help a little bit. Sometimes you need to defend your storm shield, which is a base you can create for each zone and serves as a checkpoint to get more storyline quests. They also showed off new husks with an intro similar to Borderlands or Sunset Overdrive, which I thought were pretty cool. They kinda just stopped doing it later on, which is a shame, but whatever. On top of the huge selection of heroes, there were also a lot of weapons to mess around with. Assault rifles, pistols, shotties, laser rifles, snowball rifles, boombox shotties, boom bows, rockets, plasma launchers, present launchers, swords, ghost swords, hammers, a giant hand, we got them all. There's also 3 different leveling systems. God damn. The first is your commander level, which you can level up just by completing missions. The second is your fort stats, which are stat buffs you can increase with research points that generate over time. And the third is your power level, which you can increase by creating and upgrading survivor squads, which also give you bonuses if you use survivors of the same type. So yeah, there was a lot of grinding to do, quests to complete, and new events to experience. It was a fun time. But shortly after Fortnite's release, a new genre rose up and gained immense popularity: Battle Royales. And I get it. Battle Royales aren't new. There were Minecraft Hunger Games and of course musical chairs. But PUBG and H1Z1 undeniably threw Battle Royale straight into the mainstream. With this new popularity, of course many studios wanted some of that pie, and threw in their own standalone game or created a spin-off Battle Royale game mode. Of course, focusing your attention from your main vision to, well, a fad might just be suicide for your game. But hey, it can work and be a nice but probably smaller spin-off than your main game. And in the case of Fortnite, it worked. I mean, really well. Like, seriously well. A lot better than the OG game mode. Battle Royale was going absolutely mud, so obviously they got a lot of updates. But since update cycles happen simultaneously for both modes, if BR got something, Save the World probably would too. At this time, dev updates and roadmaps were fairly frequent, which is very good for an early access game in terms of communication. Throughout Chapter 1, we got many questline expansions, new events with new weapons, heroes, traps, and limited time modes, a rework to weapon perks letting you switch and upgrade them, and my personal favorite, the hero loadout rework, which let you customize the hell out of your hero builds. Wanna freeze husks with your abilities, weapons, and even your base? Be my guest. Wanna shoot kunai from the sky and hover in the air? Sure buddy. Wanna spam rockets without spending ammo? Why not? Want to become an absolute tank that heals all their damage? Of course! How about becoming a literal Beyblade? Well, you can do that too. Season 7 was, in my opinion, the the peak of Fortnite. We got the conclusion of the Canny Valley storyline, which is the third zone out of 4, a limited time mode called Frostnite, which was a cool take on the usual defense mission, with you being unable to use weapons you own, making you scavenge for new ones, and you need to make sure your objective doesn't run out of fuel, keeping you from being a tasty popsicle for the husks. With there being new modifiers and rewards every week, Frostnite can be a really fun and surprisingly intense mode. And finally, we got the cool as hell boss fight, the Storm King. That shit still gives me the chills. Real talk, this update is probably what gave Save the World a genuine spike in attention. And it's completely deserved. I mean, look at this guy. He looks like he was Save the World's entire budget. My boy's got lasers, yeeting rocks, meteor showers, and a huge energy blast when you piss him off. The dudes over in Battle Royale wish they had something as cool as this. The Storm King being as epic as he was, gave me hope that we would be getting more interesting bosses like this later on in the storyline. But we all know how that turned out. Unfortunately, that's probably the most I can say about this game that is genuinely good. Storm King was Season 7, the hero loadout was Season 8, and Season 9 brought in War Games, which was a defense which took place in your Storm Shield with modifiers. They were really only used for AFK farming gold and tickets until the rewards got nerfed to the ground the next season. But then, why do it at that point? Not even Epic really cared about it much after that. This season was also the beginning of a lack of communication from devs and community managers over long-awaited features being delayed, like the locker being brought to Save the World allowing cosmetics, squashing many persistent bugs and performance fixes, and most importantly broken promises of its free-to-play release, which was supposed to be in 2018. By Season 8 it was February 2019, and still nothing on that topic. When Season X reared its ugly head in August, things didn't get much better for either mode. Battle Royale was dealing with an absolute circus of a map and the whole Terminator invasion, while Save the World finally got the locker. Cool. Although it wasn't uncommon for some cosmetics, pickaxes especially, with completely borked animations, which has been a recurring issue for years. We also got Hit the Road, which was meh. It was basically a payload mission similar to escort duty if you play Deep Rock. You should. Anyway, Hit the Road was slow, really friggin' slow. A 30-minute game on average is crazy. Not only did this event have very lacking rewards, it was also a good 85% of the content for Season X.
And that's it. Really? That's it. I'm sorry. Really?
It was a lot harder to keep Hit the Road fresh, especially when the only thing they really changed was the character you had to escort. When we look at things that are yet to be fixed or added, damn, that's a long list. Well, all good. With Chapter 2 coming in and BR getting its like 5th cool ass live event, maybe Epic will finally take a look at Save the World and turn it around for the better. A whole day and a half. No matter what mode you played, you couldn't play the game. Even though Save the World disabled itself last season before it was cool, it was kinda crazy how they straight up shut down the entire game like this. The Fortnite YouTubers' revenue gone. The kids screaming that they lost their one true purpose in life. The parents getting some real intrusive thoughts. And me. Honestly a little excited. I mean look, they revamped the entire BR map and added cool things like wildlife, water combat, and of course, fishing. They also revamped the UI and the game graphics, which in my opinion look beautiful. So let's see, what do we get?
Hi. First of all, from all of us here at Home Base, sorry we broke time.
An apology message and a voucher to unlock one singular hero. Bruh. Now the reason this happened is because at this point, BR seasons and Save the World updates are no longer aligned. But since they made the new update such a big deal with a huge ass black hole, of course many Save the World players thought they would get some cool things too. And to be fair, they did drop a roadmap for what to expect in the coming weeks. But that didn't change the fact that many people, including myself, were extremely disappointed with how this was handled. We did end up getting dungeons later on, which were pretty similar to roguelikes, where you would need to find your own weapons, shoot bosses, and try not to die. Since there were different biomes to dive into and the core gameplay was solid, it was honestly a pretty good event, even if it took a whole month into chapter 2 for it to drop. We also finally had the complete locker, overdue by 2 seasons, and the mythic Storm King, which was just a beefier Storm King in Twin Peaks, who gave a set of some pretty sick looking mythic weapons. Of course, being mythics, they were all pretty damn strong and have unique gimmicks like aimbot,
I've got you in my sights.
charged explosions, and laser blasts that chain the other enemies and one-shots everything. The melee weapons have power attacks like laser slashes and calling down freaking meteors. I already said that, but yeah. Pretty cool. And since they were the first and only set of mythics, it was a pretty big deal. Don't let this distract you from the fact that they Control-C, Control-V the Storm King over for the BR event. This dude was the one cool thing Save the World had going for it, man, but I'm not gonna gatekeep. It's low-key cool they brought him over for the people who don't play Save the World to enjoy. It would be even cooler if Save the World got the same treatment with some live events like BR does, but oh well. So what is still needed in Save the World? Well, firstly, a Twin Peaks storyline and revamp would be nice, since it would introduce some true endgame content, maybe outside the usual fetch quests and complete this mission X amount of times. And the volcano biome would be extremely badass for a late game zone. But most importantly, squashing bugs. Now, I've played some unpolished games before, but Save the World felt like its code was holding itself together with spit and tears. It was impressive. For example, Deliver the Bomb is another payload mission where you need to build the path the bomb will take and defend the launcher while it charges so it can fire into the storm rift thingy. It wasn't too uncommon for this mission to softlock by preventing you from placing down tracks because of terrain, not letting you craft them in the first place, or straight up not ending the mission after you complete it. Of course, there's more, like objectives spawning in walls, husks being able to attack objectives through walls, rashes, oh it's tough if that happens, you lose everything, huge performance issues, I could go on. Seriously. More crashes, more objectives in the ground. Oh whoops, Deliver the Bomb broke again. Traps not trapping, husks not husking, guns not doing any damage, husks not spawning anywhere. Hey, is bro good?
Part of the job.
Abilities not doing damage because of more performance issues. And not for real, why does this mission exist? Don't get me wrong, I understand that Save the World's dev team is a tiny bit smaller than Battle Royale, and while I don't blame them that much for being unable to deal with this, I think it might just speak to a bigger issue in budgeting for Save the World content compared to its younger brother. But you know what? All good. Sure, we might be getting recycled events and 0 bug fixes, but hey, we got word of a major feature in the works. That's exciting, right? Oh man, I wonder what that could be. Well, shit. We came full circle. This blog post crushed any hope for a healthy future of this mode. Not only is development slowing down even more than it already has the past year, the free-to-play release that was promised and delayed over and over before the game was released is cancelled. Now, the already less popular mode is locked behind a $20 pack, which they throw in as just a little bonus. It's insane. If the community wasn't happy with how Epic handled Season X, imagine how they felt about basically being flipped off by them. The funniest part of this to me is that they apparently took Save the World out of early access without ever at least finishing the final zone Twin Peaks. They instead claimed the storyline is complete. Huh? Not even a biome change like Canny Valley's deserts or Plankerton's autumn forest. Twine could have been an awesome volcano biome like his Storm Shield, but instead, it's just a blank slate. But oh, let's recycle the tropical islands from BR and call it brand new. Yes sir. I've never seen a company squash a community's trust this hard. And trust me, I've been through Paladin's OB64. If you know, you know. This news obviously caused a major uproar in the community. The subreddit got hijacked, which was pretty funny. But more importantly, a hashtag called Save the World began trending on the battlefield known as Twitter. This gained an insane amount of attention both from those who cared about and supported the game and those who didn't ask, plus ratio, I only use Save the World to farm V-Buck bro. Unfortunately, despite our efforts, Epic didn't budge on their decision. With how much BR is making, especially from its crossovers, I mean, in what other game can Rick from Morty use Kamehameha wearing an Among Us backpack for that epic victory Royale? Never saying that again. But yeah, with how much BR is making, it's hard to believe that they can't at least throw the Save the World dev team a couple hundred, you know? So what's it looking like for Save the World now? Well, pretty meh, even looking past all the recycled content they've been throwing us. Most content creators left by now, besides a few goats like Beast, not to be confused with and A1 Get This Money. It's pretty sad a big source of views for Save the World come from Scammer Gets Scammed YouTubers, and if you know anything about them, you know they suck, and their vids involve a lot of kids' tears if you're into that. The major feature they were hyping up came to be Ventures, which is the seasonal model it's been using for the past few years. It's basically like you're restarting the game from scratch. Your Ventures inventory is completely separate from your normal one. You can't craft weapons, so you need to scavenge for new ones, and you get a separate power level. When the season's over, everything resets and you lose everything, except whatever rewards you get, like currency or super treasures to further upgrade your gear. Ventures is actually not the worst thing, but it's still a shame that they focus more on cheap replayability than an actual endgame for Twine. They also decided to pay us back for taking Storm King, so they Control-C Control-V wildlife from BR into Save the World. But why? Adding in chickens, boars, and raptors into a zombie killing mode makes zero sense. I mean, sure, you could tame them or whatever, but not only can these guys do more damage than smashers or even takers who were designed to 100 to 0 you at will, Epic just gave themselves more issues with animal AI and even husk AI. Literally pointless. But on a nicer note, Epic dropped another dungeon called the Lab a little over a year ago, and it's by far the best thing they've added since 2020. Yeah, the bar isn't high, but still. So basically, you help this Russian dude break into a lab and defeat a mad doctor who is creating human husk hybrids, goddamn. And the detail of this dungeon is nothing short of amazing. It does use some assets from BR, but there's a lot of Save the World unique things like these test tubes with husks in them. How sick is that? The main boss isn't even a husk reskin, he's a whole husk guy, and you basically need to weaken him using blue glow you collect throughout the dungeon to actually kill him. Seriously, this feels a lot like a BR LTM, and I probably feel that way because it's polished and it's clear that genuine effort was put in it. Sad, I know. And that's how I describe the entirety of Save the World's life. Despite its flaws, Save the World was and still is an incredible game. It'd be pretty easy to put all the blame on BR since it is a reason Epic dropped support for their other games, but in hindsight, these games had their own issues that ended up killing them. Of course, you can argue that Epic can use their yearly billion-dollar revenue and throw Save the World a bone or two. And while I don't disagree, I feel like they already have a few times but haven't seen it pay off. I'm not defending them here, alright? Doesn't excuse how they couldn't even make Save the World go free before giving it the boot. But don't forget that Epic is a business. They want money. They probably don't care to help out any other projects they're working on if Fortnite is just stacking up more and more dough for them, you know? It probably doesn't even make sense for Epic to completely kill Save the World like they did Paragon, since it is the OG. So they're perfectly content with keeping it on life support instead. So that was the story of how Fortnite was left for dead. Literally. I still recommend the game if you don't mind the paywall. There is still a lot of fun to be had and the recycled content will be new to you, so silver lining, right? Just stay away from the scammers in Stonewood, alright? Anyways, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, all that. And I'll catch you later.